Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome, Michelle, Gary Spikes, and everybody's starting to filter in there. Hello, Rebecca. Hopefully, you got the tow truck on standby. So, Tracy, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Grizz, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, Crystal. How are you doing? Welcome, everybody. I got
Welcome,
a
everyone.
lot of echo going on. There
Oh,
you
like
go.
we
It's
did last
gone.
week?
It's
Okay.
gone.
All right.
So, what we got going on tonight?
Well, we got a pretty good show, I think. We got some extra people viewing, it looks like, for the She Squatchers. I'm going to let them
Interesting.
explain what they're all about here.
Welcome, Jen and Tammy and everybody. How are y'all doing? Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. So go around the room, introduce yourselves to everybody.
I'm Jen Cruz. I'm team leader of She Squatchers.
Tammy?
I'm Tammy Tricle. I am a member of the She Squatchers.
And I am Jenna Grover, another member of the She Squatchers. Great.
Well, welcome. Awesome. Everybody's saying hello to you all.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Y'all ready for Christmas?
Yes, you know what? I wore a little outfit tonight, but the square is so small you can't see it. So just know in your heart that I'm wearing it.
Oh,
Yes.
Well, I
So
celebrate Yule, so I'm ready for Yule, which is tomorrow.
that is correct. Yes, absolutely. So this year has gone by so quickly. I know. It's just
So fast.
unbelievable. Yes.
it really has.
So I'm not familiar. Can you guys hear me now or not?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with She Squatchers like Grizzly has talked with you guys before. Can one of you walk us through what you're all about? You know, what started your group and all that?
3 words. Ivories
Oh,
of
can't do it in
steel.
3 words.
I can.
You can do it, then go for it. Tell
Ivories
us.
of steel. I just did.
What?
They are crazy. The stuff they do, they're nuts. But but they do it.
But it's a good nuts. At
It
least so we're
is.
told
Yes.
to our faces.
To our
Right?
faces.
Well, in 2015, I interviewed Lauren Coleman, the cryptozoologist who has the International Cryptozoology Museum in the state of Maine. And it was his idea for sending women into the woods without men, dogs, or guns. And he thought that would be the recipe for success in getting closer and interacting with the Bigfoots. So, through that interview, that's how She Squatchers got started. And it's been a process, that's for sure, and of narrowing people down. And I've got the fearless ladies with me now. Uh, they're way more fearless than I am. We'll just put it that way. But we're all psychic mediums, and so we have a background in the paranormal as well. And I'm telling you, Bigfoot stole my heart and took me away from a lot of the paranormal stuff. Although we still do that too, but um, Bigfoot is our focus now. And so not only are we just women in the woods looking for Bigfoot, we're psychic women, all of us, and we use that to our advantage. You know, we're going to use that in our toolbox. We're going to use it to our advantage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you were investigators you investigated at one time, correct?
I did, yes, but we're all psychic mediums, like I said. So we've worked on paranormal cases, like clearing out haunted houses or spirits that are not very kind to the homeowner or whoever's space it is. If they're being troublesome, you know, we've been known to clear them out. So yeah,
Okay.
At one time I was I was going into a place that other psychics were too scared to go.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, sometimes I do things and I'm like, you know, maybe I should have been scared of that, but I wasn't at that time. So I don't know.
So you said 2015 was when somebody had brought up that you guys should go out into into the woods by yourselves without men and stuff like that.
Yes.
What drove you to even get to that point? When did you actually start becoming kind of fascinated with Bigfoot?
The first night out for me, because I had an encounter. the first night out. Well, during the day we went out, and again, I'm a psychic medium. I'm an energy healer, as that's my profession. So I feel energy on a physical level. So I was actually out there asking to feel the energy of Bigfoot during the day, and I felt something at a location, but there wasn't anything there that would make you think, like, we didn't see anything there that would make us think that Bigfoot was there. But I still dropped a GPS pin on it and said, we're going to come back here tonight. And that's where we had our encounter. And it was pretty crazy. Rocks were being thrown. I saw one on a thermal. There was multiple creatures surrounding us. It was quite an experience. And it scared I didn't have these ladies with me that night. I had a bunch of paranormal investigators with night vision cameras that I thought would be good for seeing in the dark and in the woods, but didn't know that those cameras wouldn't light up the woods like they do houses on the inside. So it really was useless. Anyway, those ladies got scared. Most of them were too scared to continue. And, it made it pretty clear to me through that process that it was going to take some special ladies to go out with me, because I was so pumped up after that. I wanted more, and the others were like, let's go. So that, it was pretty quick. I went home, I hadn't even told my friends that I was going looking for Bigfoot. I was embarrassed because I didn't believe in Bigfoot. And so after I went out and had an experience, I was like, oh my gosh, Jenna, look what happened. She was so mad at me that I hadn't taken her with me.
I really was. I really expected her to tell me before she did something like this. She knows I was like totally into adventure and camaraderie and excitement. But thank you, Jen.
Yeah. So then Jenna and I got together and we were doing that. And then pretty soon Tammy came on board when she was able to with her situations as well. So then we created the trifecta known as the She Squatchers, the three of us together.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, it's amazing. You don't, not necessarily don't believe, but you don't understand something. But once you get that piece of evidence in your head and you start seeing it, you really want to get into it. That's how it started with paranormal for me. So. What about you, Grizz?
Oh yeah, it's any realm that's paranormal, I'm down. But the way that they investigate, it's very interesting. It's methodical, and you never know what's going to happen with these trios. So it's very interesting.
Jen tells everybody the police always come when we go out to some of these places.
They do. It's not really an expedition until the cops show up.
That's funny.
Now,
it's true though. They often show up.
Whereabouts is like your favorite place to go to find them, to find Bigfoot?
My favorite place is northern Minnesota, but that's just because I'm a Minnesota girl and that's closer home to me. If I lived in Washington, I'd probably say Washington because that would be closer to home for me there. But we seem to have a lot. I mean, I've seen out in the open during the day for a long period of time a sighting of a Bigfoot out in the open during the day. In Minnesota, in northern Minnesota, it was wonderful. Jenna was there. She saw one. She was looking in a different direction. She saw one at the same time.
Wow.
So, and then we took Tammy there, and she had multiple experiences there. So, it's my favorite place to go.
It was amazing. Daytime sightings, nighttime sightings, things happening all the time.
Grizzly had shown.
Can you hear us? You got a lag or something, don't you?
Is it me? Do I have a lag?
Why do you guys? Yeah, I'm gonna sign on through my. It's me. I'm gonna sign on through my phone.
Okay, well, while he gets off, let's talk about him. No, I'm kidding. I'm just
Tracy is this great guy.
Right? Oh, by the way, hey everybody! You guys are all saying hello.
Hi.
We say hello.
Yes, everybody's saying hello to you. Welcome, everybody. So.
And Gary wanted to know when we were going to Brown Springs, Oklahoma. You find an event for us, and you have them contact us, and we will be there.
Is that the Honobia conference? Because they don't cover any travel. We've been asked to do
I do know people in Oklahoma now, but I don't know how far it is from Brown Springs.
Yeah, I don't know where that. I'm unfamiliar with the whole territory of Oklahoma.
Yeah, we haven't
investigated
Oklahoma at all. I'd like to also go to California. I think that would be amazing.
Yes.
We should actually get a world, actually, I was going to say a world map, but we'll start with the United States and we'll start marking off all the territories that we've been to in the different states. I think it's a great idea.
I see they're asking about Land Between the Lakes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I would love to go there.
We have investigated in Kentucky, but not LBL.
So the LPL is really kicking up lately. A lot of activity down there, a lot. So it's very interesting.
We just drove through there yesterday or 2 days ago on our way back from Nashville through Kadib and all that stuff. So my question is, being a guy that's not in, that hasn't done any Bigfoot stuff. So you say Land Between Lakes, right?
Right.
I see all the signs, Land Between Lakes, and I'm assuming it's right there in Kadib and Kentucky Lake and all that stuff right there, right?
Yeah, right between it's between Kentucky and Tennessee. That's why they call it Land Between the Lakes. And Roger Blair wants to know, have y'all ever come across any other cryptids besides Bigfoot?
Yes, we have. And it was before I was looking for Bigfoot. I had an experience with a North American hyena. And I was seeing it for a few years in a row. It was running with a pack of wild dogs on the reservation. And so every time I saw it, I'd be like, look at that. Doesn't that look like a hyena? And everybody agreed, yeah, that sure does look like a hyena. And it wasn't until I started looking for Bigfoot that I became aware of that there was cryptid, or there was an animal known as the North American hyena. They think it's extinct now, but I don't think it is.
Wow.
So, and then other native people had seen it crossing the road in front of them on a reservation nearby as well. So
interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we've had some fun experiences with the little people.
Mm-hmm.
And that really shocked Jenna. The first time we were casting Bigfoot footprints on a gravel pit hill, and we needed more equipment to get them off this hill. So everybody left, and Jenna and I stayed there with no vehicle, and it was getting dark, and we were just going to watch the casting. So nobody messed with it while they were gone. And so we're sitting there and looking through our night vision stuff. And Jenna, you should tell what you saw.
Well, I was just looking, thinking I wouldn't see anything. You go in and you use the equipment. And you're thinking, what can I see? I was looking at these this shrubbery. What would you call them, Jen?
Bushes.
Just those little bushes. Sorry, I'm so excited to tell you. I forgot the word bushes. So anyway, I was sitting there with the equipment on my eyes, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's so cool. It looks like a little gnome. And all of a sudden, like, it was like this, and then it went and looked at me, and I went, oh my gosh. I almost dropped the machine. I could not freaking believe this thing literally just turns its head and looked at me. I'm sorry, but it was freaky. It was the first gnome I had ever seen. I mean, these things exist. I'm sorry, but they do. Scares the living darn stink out of me, but they do.
And what's cool is I had just gotten a new monocular night vision camera. And so I was sitting there trying that out, playing with the buttons. And I looked at the bush that I was sitting next to, and there were little people there waving at me. And I was like, oh! And that happened at the same time.
And this is right by a set of Bigfoot prints. So it was
we were
really
casting.
Cool.
Yeah.
It just made sense. Yeah. It was just like
yeah.
And I've seen several shadow panthers, and not a lot of people have seen them or even know what they are, but I have seen several.
What is that?
It's a shadow that is in the shape of a panther, and they're very fast, like pew, pew, pew fast. And they are the same size as a panther. And I've seen them in Florida, and I've seen them in Minnesota, and I've seen them in Virginia. So they're interesting. They get closer, but I have not been brave enough to stay out there when it comes right up to me, because then I'm like, okay, wait, I don't know what you are. I'm going to go inside now.
Wow. Northern California Cubs fan. Scariest encounter for you ladies?
Scariest. Oh,
meow.
Boy. I think for me, the scariest thing that happened for me is it creeps me out a little bit when I hear something walking behind me. And then when you stop and you hear it take one more step. and then you keep going, and then you stop, and now there's something also beside you tracking you. You know, I know that that's been identified as hunting behavior. So I'm like, that freaked me out a little bit, because we were walking on this path through the woods in the dark, and I was the last one in line. So I'm like, okay, you guys, there's something behind me, there's something beside me. And so our filmmaker turned on the night vision camera and just said, keep walking. And he was filming, and he did catch the eye shine of
Wow.
what was stalking us. So that kind of creeped me out a little bit. I guess I wasn't like super scared, but I did go back a few months later. I don't know, however many months later it was. And I did a solo night hike on that same trail, and I was freaking myself out just with the memory of what happened. And if I heard something move, I was like, oh my gosh. But I mean, that was just because I was by myself and in the dark and on that same path. So I just a memory of what happened before. So, but this time I was
Wow.
alone. What about you girls?
Do you want to go next, Jenna?
No, you go ahead.
Well, my scariest thing that ever happened to me was not even with Bigfoot. It was actually my first paranormal experience. I was only 4 years old, and I was sitting outside of my grandmother's house in Oklahoma on her stairs, and I looked across the tree and I could feel something staring at me. It was across the street. So I was sitting there and I was watching, and then something moved, and you could only see it when it was moving. It was clear. This is way before, Predator movies, but it was like that, and all of a sudden, this thing noticed that I noticed it, and it jumped down out of the street and started running at me. And I got up, and I'm 4 years old, and I'm trying to open the door to my grandmother's house, and I can't get it open. And I look back, and it's in the yard now. And I finally get the door open, and I run in the house, and it slams into my grandmother's glass door. And my mom yelled, "Stop slamming the door!" And I was like, I couldn't tell them what it was because I didn't know what it was. And I was like, it wasn't me. And that's all I said. But yeah, that was my scariest experience. What about you, Jenna?
Mine is not on the along the lines of Bigfoot either. And I don't know how many times I've even told people about this, but my scariest experience was after I was in the hospital for 3 months. I went through a coma. It was just a mess. I ended up living. Amen. I'm here. But I ended up going home, and I kept smelling the bad smell. We all know what that is. I kept feeling like there was something negative, evil running around, really ticked off. And I was walking, and all of a sudden I was walking through my living room, and there was a chair to my, there's a chair to my right, and all of a sudden something came, and it was harder than I've ever felt anything touch me before. It was as if a demon pushed me, like from whatever side it was, and it pushed me, and I ended up landing in the chair on my side. So that was scary to me, the fact that it could be so violent and and I knew what it was, you know what I mean? And to know what it was, and it actually have that kind of power to push me like that physically was really scary. I've since understood, and I get a lot of things now that I didn't understand at the time, but that was really scary at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, that thing's not with you anymore, right?
No, it was so ticked I made it through. After it did that, it was gone. And I don't know, I'm protected. I've got a lot of people
Yeah.
very
That's all.
watched over. Yeah.
So they're asking about, can you please describe what the little people look like? And also, do you think it would be safe to approach the little person if they waved at you? Ooh.
I think it's safe to approach them if they're waving at you in a friendly manner, of course. But there are different kinds of little people. They're all different kinds. Jenna saw the gnome. Interestingly enough, gnomes are usually connected to Scandinavian descended farmers, and that's exactly what she is. So that interestingly enough, she has a connection to gnomes, and they're said that they came across the waters with the farmers that they were looking after their farms, and so they've been attached to their families. So that makes sense to me that Jenna would be having this attachment to gnomes. The little people that I've seen, there's different kinds. I've seen a Jehotinas, which The Jehotna, that's a Dakota word, and it's spelled Canotina, but it's pronounced Jehotna, and they're literally the little people of the woodland trees, and they look like Bigfoot, except they're only 2 to 3 feet tall when they're full grown. So
Wow.
they're like that, and they often live nearby Bigfoots as well. They're also ones that just look like little people. I mean, literally 18 inches tall, to 12 inches tall, even maybe 2 feet, just little people. And I've seen the ones that look, they look like just absolutely joyous little kids, just that they look like that, and they're just so full of joy. And there's different kinds. Tammy, maybe you could add some more to that.
Yeah, fairies, goblins. Not obviously not all of the little people are nice, and not all of them like people. But yeah, there's lots of critters that run around, and I've seen a lot of them. The one that sticks most in my head, probably you would call it a brownie, because it's not really a fairy and it's not a gnome, but it's somewhere in between that they look like, and they're can be very aggressive, and they like to play pranks. So there's
Wow.
them. Jenna, do you have any others? You're on mute.
I would like to not answer that question. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Wow.
It was mostly Jen.
So one of the theories that Chris and I have talked about with other people before with Bigfoot is the cloaking, which could be one of the reasons why they've never very rarely been seen on camera, right? What do you guys think, the gnomes and the little people and stuff like that? What do you think there's not more news out there about them, or any footage or anything like that, or just your theory on it?
Part of the native belief on that is that nighttime is their time, and that was what a lot of my native elders talked about. Nighttime is their time, and so you shouldn't be out there at night as much. um so I think part of it is nighttime is their time. The other part is, we hear lots of little people stories about them being able to cloak their villages and things like that. And if you know where they are, maybe you can catch glimpses of them.
Gotcha.
I have seen them blend into trees. We were doing an outdoor classroom at my reservation, and I happened to notice that this one particular tree had these little faces, about softball size, 5 little softball size faces, and all of them were just like smiling so huge and joyously. And it looked like somebody had carved these into the tree and at the base of the tree. And I was like, who did that? When did they do that? I've never seen that before. And so I didn't take my eyes off of it. And when we went to a break, I pointed at it and I asked my elder, what do you see there? And he says, oh, those are the little people. They're here helping me teach the class. And they are the reason why I built this place right here, is because they were here. And they help him with the healings that he was doing, and with teaching the people. And he says they're just blending their energy with the tree so that other people don't see them. He says they won't be there later. And sure enough, we went to lunch and I came back and looked at the tree and it was just a normal tree again.
Yeah.
So every time I go to that place now, I'm always scanning the bases of the trees, looking to see if they're there again.
Wow.
That's an interesting story. That's a good one.
Yeah. Brian Barber, what kind of tracks do the little people leave, if any?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've never seen any.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
So, hey, Grizzly,
Yes.
have you ever heard of the Shadow Panther?
No, that is new on my radar. So that's got me curious, right? I mean, I've seen
Exactly.
a lot of things that I cannot explain. Little people, gnomes. I know they exist. We've actually had people on the show before that's been hunting, and one came out of a tree while he was hunting, and he stared at it, and he was looking around, looked down, and they both went, and it's like, you can see me? And he
What did
ran
he
back
see?
inside the tree.
You said
A little
one.
gnome, a little person.
See,
And he came out and he looked down and he looked up. And when the gnomes realized that he could see him, the gnome freaked out and ran back in the tree. And he went and knocked around that tree and he was like, it's not hollow. Where'd it go? So, yeah, it's very interesting.
What about like the have you guys ever witnessed like the dog man or the Mothman when you're out there seeing anything like that?
We have gone out to the Mothman location and we saw the statue. That was about it. That was about it that we saw there. And every time I've been there, it's been horribly hot, just awful. I'm a northern girl from Minnesota, so the temperature for me. Whew.
Yeah.
And as what was the other Dogman? We haven't gone looking for Dogman.
We've seen him in remote viewing, though.
Yeah, we have seen him in remote viewing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the Bigfoot cloak, or think that you've seen it cloaking? You know,
this is all new to Tracy, ladies. This is outside of his realm.
Yeah, please bear with me. I'm in the ghost and spirit world. Yeah, I can maybe I can talk about that, but this stuff here, it's really interesting. I really enjoy it.
You know, I have to say, at this point, with everything we've experienced, my idea of how they travel, how they live, where they live is completely changed. Like when you ask that question, I already have 20 more questions about something I just learned a few days ago, or, you know, I can't answer that question. So it's up to you girls.
So what do y'all think about it? Is it possible they can do that, or what's your all's thoughts?
I think we all have different opinions on that. You know, Jenna and I had found a den-like structure that we believe to be, and the natives in the location in that area also believe these to be built by the Bigfoots. Jenna went and stood behind it, and I couldn't see her, and she could see me clear as day.
Wow.
So and she wasn't trying to blend in with her colors. So I think that they're naturally able to blend in anyway. And, you know, with the human brain, the way that it works, for our ability to see what's in front of us, the human brain works at 400 billion bytes per second. That's what it's actually doing. That's not a potential. But the average human is only consciously aware of 2,000 bytes per second out of the 400 billion that it's actually processing. So that if you were to make a pie chart of that, one single hair on a full pie, that's not even a big enough space to represent the 2,000 bytes of information per second out of the 400 billion that our brain is actually processing. So we're literally not consciously aware of everything that we're seeing, hearing, feeling, and touching. We are almost completely unaware of those things. So they could walk right past you and you not even know. And I think that there's a whole scientific brain thing behind that, that people just aren't giving enough attention to. You know, all of our gut instincts come from that extra awareness of that subconscious information coming up and just giving us a little tidbit of information. Can they cloak their body? I don't know that they can for sure, but I think it makes sense if they're able to alter their energy frequency, which I think that they can. We can. If we can do it, they can do it, right?
Yeah.
And so if we can alter our energy frequency, they could probably do the same. And if they have a little bit more ability to control that, you know, all you have to do is raise your energy frequency high enough to become a little bit out of this realm.
That's true. Brian Barber wants to know, you ever been to Michigan? It's a hotbed for Bigfoot and Dogman.
We did a couple of we were in 2 documentaries that were filmed in Michigan in the Upper Peninsula. So yeah, we've been there. We've experienced the Bigfoot in Michigan.
And they want to know, can you elaborate on that in the Upper Peninsula, please?
And Tammy, Jenna, you go for it.
Well, we did an investigation up there. We actually did a documentary up there, and we were with Adam Davies, Robert Kreider, some other people. You know, a big group of us were all up there, and we all investigated together. We took prints together and did investigations together, and we got some footage. And Where we were was a hot bed because right behind where we were camping, not even where we were across the road searching, but right behind where we were camping, we found so much. We found footprints, we found structures. We would go into the woods and the path would be clear. We would come back out and there'd be logs laying across the path that were not there when we walked in just, an hour or so before. And even after we left, they got even more footage. It was in the Searching for Sasquatch. What numbers was that, Jen? 3, 4?
3 and 4.
Yeah. Amazing. You can watch it. You can see what we all got.
So what do y'all think Bigfoot is?
That's a good question. I think Bigfoot is, I think it is a physical creature. Obviously, you have to be physical to leave footprints behind, right? But, can it do all these other amazing things? I've seen enough and experienced enough to say I think that they have some abilities that are beyond some of our understanding for the majority to understand. And I think that once you experience those things on your own, it takes away some of that doubt. And for all the doubters out there, you just need to get out there. You don't even have to be fully physically fit. If you find a hot spot, you could go sit down, bring a chair and have a seat. They're curious things. They're curious beings. They come and check you out if you give them the opportunity.
I think that they are interdimensional beings, and I think that while they are in this realm, they are physical. But I feel like they have to concentrate to be, present physically in this realm. And I think that when they get startled or when they want to hide, they just step back and then they're not in our realm anymore. I think they're more fourth and fifth dimensional than they are third. So that's just my view. We don't all share the same views, but that's what I feel.
That's the thing too about our team. We don't have to agree on what we think they are or what they can do. And we can get along and respect each other and our own opinions and our own and when one of them has an experience, I believe them 100%. I believe them 100% when they say this is what I saw. I believe that 100%. And so if we can get along, the Bigfoot community is often split between people who think it's just an undiscovered ape to people who think that they have other abilities, can do other things. And it's like the whole community splits and they're at odds with each other. And I don't think it needs to be that way, because if my team can have different opinions about what's going on here and we can respect each other and go out and look for the answers together, everybody can do that and be respectful of each other. Because all of us agree, we don't care if we're wrong. We just want to find out what's true.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't want to answer that question now. She just did it great. Great job.
Well, you're absolutely right. And we see it across whatever realm or paranormal field that you're in. But I use electric eel theory, right? Back in the days, people didn't know that the electric eel would shock you. So when they touched it, it would zap them. They didn't have the words to describe what was going on. They didn't know about electricity. So they would fathom and as it's evil or whatever. So I think you're right. I think we just don't understand the process known to us, and they do have capabilities outside our scope. So that's a very good answer.
And oh, I'm sorry.
But,
what she
go
had
ahead,
said.
Tracy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. What she had said at the end there about, that could go for every paranormal thing out there too. Everybody just kind of respect each other's, answers and thoughts and just believe what they're seeing. So that's definitely a great answer. I like that answer.
Mm-hmm.
So what questions do you have, Tracy, about Bigfoot in the paranormal realm in that field?
So I'm trying to think, of what somebody like myself that's new to it, and one of the questions I'm sure you guys get asked is, there's so many sightings, right? And please forgive me for asking this. I'm just asking as a naive person that watches TV, stuff like that. There's so many sightings, so many people believe, and I've become a believer by listening to this. So, but I'm trying to talk for somebody else that maybe isn't. Why isn't there more? Why do you guys believe there isn't more footage or more documented footage of them existing. I know Tammy had a great reasoning for that. That would make 100% sense to a lot of people that are trying to find that out, right? And I'm not trying to dive too far into this. I'm just kind of curious to a new person walking into it. That's the guys that are that don't believe. What would you say to them if they're like, hey, why aren't there any more pictures of them?
Well, one thing, I think that they're mostly nocturnal, number one. Number two, the night vision cameras, the trail cams, they all make sound that is very high pitched and it hurts my ears, so I'm sure they can hear it too.
Yeah.
And so they're smart. They avoid those things. I've heard people talk about leaving trail cameras out and they disable them they come up behind them and disable the cameras. So, they know what they are. So they're smarter. They're a people. I fully believe that Bigfoot is a people.
Yes.
And they are as smart, if not smarter than we are. So you're not going to trick them. You're better off trying to sit down and do enough interesting things, laughing, having a good time, where they want to come up and see what you're doing. What's this good time going on here without me? What are they doing?
And are those girls?
So what's your all secret to the success and everything? What do y'all do different that you can share to people because there's people out there in the woods for 20, 15, 30 years, never have an encounter. But then you got the average person that either has a clan living there or they run into them every time they go out in the woods.
So there's a belief that Bigfoot, that you're chosen to see Bigfoot. Okay. There's a belief about that. So people who see Bigfoot are more likely to be seeing them, and whether that's their energy spectrum that they're existing on, or that they just feel that this person is a safe person to show themselves to. It's hard to understand that, but the native belief on that is that you're chosen to see them. And also that when you do see them, there's a meaning behind it. So like a lot of the Bigfoot sightings that happen on Indian reservations aren't reported to Bigfoot groups because to them, it's a spiritual experience. I saw Bigfoot, and they'll go talk to their spiritual advisor to find out what is the message that Bigfoot brought to them. What does that mean in their life? And so a lot of those don't get reported to Bigfoot researchers and Bigfoot groups. So I have the best stuff happening on Indian reservations, to be quite honest.
Interesting. Tammy?
Well, like Jen said, that because you are chosen to see them, I think that they can read people's energy and they know if you're a good person or you're not a good person and what your intentions are. And I think that they're selective over who they allow to see them. And maybe I know that there's Bigfoot hunters out there that have been hunting for years and years and years, and they've never had a sighting, and maybe it's because Bigfoot doesn't want to interact with them. So we as psychics, I think that we have a little bit more of an edge because we are higher brained and we are able to remote view and find areas where they are, and then we go there. Some people wander around in the woods and they never find anything, but we look before we go and we find an area where they're most likely to be, where they have been, and then we go there and see if we can see any that are still there, and then we have our experiences.
Interesting. Jenna?
I don't think necessarily, sorry, Tammy, I don't necessarily think it's whether you're a good person or a bad person. I think intent does have a lot to do with it. I do think also it's people getting out and actually putting themselves in the situation, and it's them getting out and looking and taking walks and getting out there, because so many people have so many ideas and opinions on how everyone does anything, how we look for Bigfoot, but they're not getting out there. I think our edge is that we are not only women, no guns, no dogs, no men, and I also think that Jen had a really good point. We love each other and our intent is pure, and we're going out there wanting to make contact, not to hurt anything.
Now, the question is for Brian Barber, do you think y'all being females, does that increase your chances as well?
I think it does. I do. I think it does. Because we're non-threatening. just because of our gender. And, you know, one of the things that Lauren Coleman felt was that when people are seeing Bigfoot near the highways and near roadways and places where the people are, he says a lot of times these are younger males and they're probably out doing the things they're not supposed to be doing and getting in trouble, just like our young men do, right? And he felt that these younger males would be a little bit more apt to come in closer to have a look at some ladies if they didn't have anything threatening there with them, like some men, dogs, or guns. So, you know, we're literally putting ourselves out there for you people.
Over
Without
funny
men, dogs, and guns.
on a platter. Yes.
On a platter. With fruit.
So what's been
We are
some of
the
your
fruit.
most, yeah, right? What's some of your most interesting finds and encounters?
Oh
God.
boy. Well, again, when we find the den-like structures those are very intricately built. You know, we're talking trees stacked on top of each other and weaved together so tightly that they just holds it together like a building. And nothing is
Yeah.
tied or screwed or nailed together, and it's just so intricately built. That to me was shocking. These structures,
But
and some of them that are being found on my reservation actually have holes dug inside of them into these underground areas like dens, tunnels, caves. They're not caves, they're dens, they're dug.
Wow.
And it gets like 50 below zero up here sometimes in the wintertime, and they're not known to be using fire. So how are they staying warm? They have to go underground, right?
Yep.
They have to. So, but you know, we've got thermal imagery. Tammy, you should tell that story.
Oh, yeah, we got 13 minutes of footage on top of a mountain in Tennessee. We went up there during the day. We were at an event and we were up there with one of our friends, Matthew Delph from Micro, and we went on a walk and took some people out. And you know, Jenna and I sent Jen the coordinates of the place so that she could look at it because she was a little under the weather and didn't need to be up hiking on top of a mountain. So we went up, we sent her the coordinates and she remote viewed while we were up there. And I found a really cool X. And we, you know, were seeing all of the hot spots. And Matthew showed where there was some hair and things like that to the people. And we came back and Jen had been looking and she found some areas that looked like they would be good places to go. So we discussed it over dinner and we decided to go up there and look. I don't know if he's saying hi to me or the other Tammy, but anyway, we went up there and we got to the top of the mountain and Jen looked one more time on the maps and there was still one sitting right there. It was 30 feet away. So I grabbed Jenna's FLIR. It was my first time using it, so I was not familiar with the equipment. But I turned it on and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's right there. You guys, look, it's right there. It was only like 30 feet away up against
Wow.
the tree. And I was trying to record it, and all I was doing was flipping through the different colors. And I was trying to get them over there, you know, come on, guys, show me how to record, show me how to record. And he's laying there and he's got his arm up, and you can see all the hair hanging down. It was black hot. So skin is black and hair is white. And here's this white thing up against the tree. And I sent you guys the footage of that, the original and the stabilized version. But then when we finally got it to record, we got 13 minutes of FLIR footage. Minutes, not a blob squatch, not a run by. I mean, it was FLIR, so yeah, it's not, you know, crystal clear. It wasn't IR, but
Right.
he knew that we were there. We were not quiet, and he let us record him. And it looked like he was working with his hands on something, maybe skinning an animal or something like that. And at first, it looked to me like he was sitting down and leaning up against the tree and doing that. But we had Matthew go back a couple of days later and look, and it actually looked like that may have been a little bit of a cliff there, and he was standing there using it as a table, skinning whatever or doing whatever with this animal because it was black and it was, you know, warm, whatever he had in his hands. But yeah, we were not quiet. We never thought to get any closer, but he let us sit there and record him. I actually turned away. I'm like, okay, we got, you know, like 13 minutes. I think we have enough, guys. And we turned away and we started talking about everything else and then looked back and then it was gone. But he
Wow.
sat there and let us record him that whole time. He was not worried about us.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. It was amazing.
So a lot of people said they actually seen the footage and it's really good. So that's awesome.
Yeah, the original, I mean, we know nothing about editing. We're learning now, but at that time we knew nothing about editing at all. So it was all raw footage. It was all over the place. And so somebody volunteered to stabilize the footage and used some different spectrums to look at it, so to try to make it look more clear. But yeah, I think we posted like 6.5 minutes or something like that of the 13 minutes.
Awesome. What do you think the X's mean when you find those in the woods?
See, I'm confused on those because, okay, people have their own opinions. When we were in northern Minnesota, I didn't have my phone. I was with someone on a side by side, and we were just looking around the area trying to look for something. That's all I can say. But anyway, we came across, I saw a double X, and I said, hold on. This is really crazy because it was like a really good double X. And all of a sudden I looked at, because we had stopped the side by side, and I started looking, and I was like, oh, this is like a graveyard of X's. I mean, they were everywhere. So before this, I'm thinking, well, the X's maybe just are representation of a spot, an area to maybe zap in if they are interdimensional.
Dimension.
Maybe they're like some kind of spot where they would focus on. But when I saw that many, I am so confused now because now I'm wondering, are they, you know, is it like a death spot or I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's an
It was
interesting
just weird.
thought. Is it like a headstone
Yeah,
or
that's what I mean. And
that?
because
I bet that not very many people have even thought that, Jenna. That is actually a
I've never
really
heard
good
that. That's
theory.
well,
interesting.
That's a really
had
good
I
theory.
had I not experienced what I experienced, and I wish I would have had my camera, but we all know how that works. So we tried to go back. We went and got Jen and Tammy, and we tried to come back. We didn't find the same area, but it really did look like it was a graveyard of X's.
Yeah, I've had people say, that it represents don't go this way, or it represents a portal, or it's representative that that's their territory. I've heard all those things, but I've never heard anybody say that maybe it marks a grave. That's
And I
amazing.
would have never thought that had I not seen so many in such a vast area.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That was
The one that sticks out to me for the X for me was when I was seeing. Sometimes I'll see pathways in an energy color, like a golden light will show me the way to go. And I was in the woods and I saw this golden light light up a path that went right underneath an X, and I was following this path. And then my spirit guide or whatever yelled at me and got my attention, and it's kind of snapped me out of this trance-like state that I was in. Because you kind of have to go into a trance-like state to be receiving that information really strongly, right? Anyway, it kind of snapped me out of that, and I realized I wasn't in full control, and I wasn't really sure what was happening. So I went back to my vehicle, and I pulled up into the area where I could still see that path, and I started taking pictures of that. And I didn't look at them right away, but when I did look at them later, you could see that what looked to be a portal beyond the X that I was going to walk right into. And what would have
Wow.
happened? What would have happened? I went back a few weeks later with some other people because I was ready to walk into it if it was still there, but I just didn't want to do it by myself. And it was gone.
Wow.
What you had mentioned earlier about the flare. What type of equipment do you guys typically take with you on one of the Bigfoot hunts?
We have a drone now.
That's cool.
That made our whole world, and we learned how to fly it this summer.
Jenna learned how to fly it.
When I learn, you guys will learn because I cannot wait until the next beautiful day.
Is it easy?
You
But
know,
what else?
depends on who's showing you how to do it. Jason was wonderful. He was teaching me, but he kept grabbing the FLIR because he wanted to play with it, I think. But I finally was able, he finally let me maneuver it. And it really was. It's just you have to be facing the camera in the direction for the north, south, east, west kind of thing.
Mhm.
Did I do that right? I don't know. Anyway, but the camera has to go. So it's easy.
And what
Once you
other equipment do
understand.
we have, Jenna,
We've got
besides that?
Seek, we've got FLIR, we've got deer cams, trail cams, we
Night
have
vision goggles.
night vision, monoculars. So it's not that we're in need of equipment. We definitely have the good stuff, but we only have two hands.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Is Is it a, when you guys go, and just out of curiosity, is it a 1 day, 2 day? Do you guys stay for 3 or 4 days? Well, how's it typically work for you?
All depends.
Last summer we were going on 2-week excursions.
Oh,
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
so
So
just
half
hiking
of
through
June
the
and
woods.
half of August we were in the woods.
Oh, that's awesome. That would be good.
Yeah.
I'd
It
enjoy
was
that.
great.
So fun.
It is. The energy that the world and the earth gives you when you're just out, you and it. It's a good
And
time.
other than that, I mean, that we'll go to the places that are closer to us and hang out there. Like, we've been spending a lot of time out at Randy's, and he's got a camper there in when it's cooler or raining, we're dry, and the Bigfoots have been known to come up and interact with the camper. So we're like, come on, hit the camper. But yeah, so I mean, I've been up there quite a bit this fall too, and even after the snow flew, we were up there.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think you should go, Tracy.
Maybe
Look
one day.
at him. Look at him. Oh.
Can we tie you to the tree and leave you out there?
Put
Smear-
that Bigfoot bait shirt on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put
I
smear
am to
peanut
it.
butter all
Slather him
over
with
him.
some peanut butter.
We
Yeah.
don't need to tie him to the tree. Jen.
You know, that's why I was asking about the Land of the Lakes, because when I was coming back through, just on the highway, I'm novice. I'm completely novice at this. So I'm assuming that the whole forest right there is where I would go find a campground and just go hunt. Is basically what I mean. That's it, right? I mean, or I'm assuming there's hot spots too. I heard Grizzly talk
Well,
about.
they got over 276 cemeteries there.
I remember you said that. Yeah,
So yes.
I could paranormal hunt then too. So that'd be
So
cool.
I mean, it's the best of all worlds. I mean, we're getting paranormal reports, we're getting Bigfoot reports.
I'd go.
Ron Moorhead in Martin Groves, Seaton Tracks. Martin Groves said on the other night on the show that he saw Bigfoot walk into a tree and just disappear.
Mhm.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's just very fascinating. Do you have a favorite place to go? Brian Barber wants to know.
For me, I like to go to the Indian reservations in Minnesota, specifically mine. I'm a tribal member at the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians in northern Minnesota. That's my favorite place to go, but not too far away is Randy's place, and he lives outside of Black Duck, Minnesota. And he gives us pretty good access to his property, and he has really nice mowed trails that are nice and wide. And just like animals, I like the paths of least resistance, just like Bigfoot does.
Right.
So I mean, that's nice too. So those are my favorite places to go. I love to go check out other people's hotspots too, like going to see what they have going on and trying to get those experiences there and see what happens for us too. So, what do you think, girls? Think where are your favorite places?
Washington is amazing. But I have to say, Randy's is so easy, so close. We can afford to go there more, and it's an amazing property. And we're getting sightings. So I think that's definitely my favorite place. Let's go where the action is, and there might be some great action there.
I like Randy's. There's not a whole lot of places around me with Bigfoot sightings. There's a couple, and they're in swamps. So I haven't really been able to have much experience there because most of those places are in parks that are run by the state and close at sundown. So you can't really be out there. But for me, I want to go anywhere. I want to see all the cryptids. I want to have all the experiences. I want it all. So my favorite place is the next place that I'm going forever.
Ooh, Tammy, never say another answer again. That was the best answer ever.
Sweet.
So how does everybody find you and follow you?
SheSquatchers.com. But hey, we have a YouTube channel, She Squatchers Official. Please come in and like and follow us there. We are on Instagram and Facebook, She Squatchers Official as well. So please follow us there for all the goings on.
We have a show tonight, in fact.
We do.
Awesome. Tracy, what do you think?
That was a great interview. I appreciate the information. And for people who are novices like me, it gave us a lot of information, a lot of help on how we should proceed with a few things. So thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And from coast to coast around the world, everybody, we'll catch you on the next show. Everybody have a good
All right.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Have a
Good night.
Bye.